Hello everyone, it's DarkFair7. Today we are playing Azorious Humans BREW, and we didn't see human trouble being played in Modern for some time. But if we check out this human list, we can see that humans gained a lot of significant upgrades lately. So we got Gyro Souls, one of the best humans ever printed. This card is amazing, super powerful, and is as good here as it is in energy. It's really one of the best cards in a deck, and it does a lot for the overall power and strength of this deck. But also this deck recently gained Mockingbird. Okay, so the Mockingbird, we all know its interaction with Ranger Captain of Eos. So the captain finds Mockingbird, Mockingbird copies the captain, you find another Mockingbird, and then you can add a little grind to the deck list in that way by just playing these two guys, which are all really good in the deck on their own, and together they do this little grindy thing that can win sometimes in the mid game, be relevant. You can also use Mockingbird to copy other stuff. Like Reflector Mage is often very good copy with Mockingbird, Gyro Souls as well. Often when you start with multiple Gyro Souls thanks to the Mockingbird, that can be really powerful. Also I have some one-offs, two-offs, like a Tax Collector. This creature is like surprisingly very useful. Sanctifier en-Vec in the main as Graveyard Hate, kind of a Flage Hate, Archon Hate, and Gorios Hate, stuff like that. Sanctifier in main, but it's very useful in the meta game. I think a lot of times you can go through with damage thanks to the Sanctifier's protection. I like the inclusion of two of them in the main. So Esper Sentinels, they were amazing. So 4 Esper Sentinels, 4 Champion of the Parish, 4 God of Souls, 4 Mockingbird create this really strong a suit of one drops that are really high quality one drops that can win games on their own. And Esper Sentinel have been really important in DIMIR matchup. When you start first with Esper Sentinel, it absolutely destroys them, so they have to kill it immediately and give you the card, and you already like in advantage. You're already in a card advantage with Esper Sentinel ability. But if they don't kill it, then you can do crazy things like copy it with Mockingbird. When you have 2 Esper Sentinels, it becomes pretty sad for the DIMIR opponent. And they don't have mass removals in the main. They have maybe couple in the sideboard. Or if it's Deluge, they can sometimes kill your board, but often it's like maybe like a Glistening Deluge, so they can only give it -3. And in this deck, creatures grow. So a lot of decks play Pyroclasm in their sideboard because of the energy, which is a good card against this deck. But also a lot of times it will happen that your Champion of the Parish, your Talia's Lieutenant, and other creatures will just grow too large, and it won't die to Pyroclasm. Pyroclasm won't be enough to clear your board. That's partially that was, I think, very important fact. That Pyroclasm doesn't always destroy the board. Sometimes you go too big, too fast. Okay, but we discussed God of Souls recent add, which is crazy strong in a humans deck. We discussed Mockingbird, but thanks to the God of Souls deck got another very important addition. In my opinion, that is Static Prison. So Static Prison, I think you can support this in any deck with a God of Souls. And I don't want to play too many here, so 2 in the main, 1 in the side, but God of Souls can really support this card well, especially since we play also 4 Ranger Captain of Eos in the deck. We can use this card to tutor for God of Souls, so we can have more consistent access to God of Souls, which supports our Static Prison better. And I'm just very impressed how important has Static Prison been in this deck. It removes all the troubling permanents, clears the way. Often it works well even without Guide of Souls. because in many situations you just need this thing for like for a turn to clear away, and it's been a common play pattern to play Static Prison, just remove a blocker and then use the energy from Static Prison for the God of Souls ability and just get rid of your whole energy, give back that permanent you take next turn to them, but next turn it's too late because they are either dead or the board is too wide. And yes, so I've been very impressed with the Static Prison. So these are three major upgrades since MH3: God of Souls, Static Prison, Mockingbird. Also some sweet one-off in a deck, Tax Collector. I really like this one, and I think it's a good thing for this deck that DIMIR Oculus is now one of the most important, one of the most played cards. And we can see here in the sideboard, Kataki Warrage has been amazing against Affinity decks. We also got two Qatar Commando plus Static Prison, hating on the artifact decks. Meddling Mages is such an amazing card. Meddling Mages have been great against combo decks when you're playing against Belcher, when you're playing against Yawgmoth, playing against a Titan, playing against a Storm. But also it's not just combo, it has been very relevant against decks that play a little removal. So like if deck only plays like 4 Fatal Push, Meddling Mage can be really good piece, and it will completely lock opponent out of their removal. And similarly, they only play it's bad in situations to play it against removal when they have like multiple ways to kill your creatures. But if they only play like Fatal Push plus like couple of lightning bolts or something like that, then Meddling Mage also can be used to lock their removal. So a lot of uses for this card. So in the sideboard I got one Lavinia. This is good against Mox Opal combo decks like Breach. So works great in that way. And we got one Rest in Peace on the sideboard, two Sanctifiers in the main. We got two Traben Charms, which can kill enchantments, kill creatures, and also exile graveyards. So one versatile card on the sideboard does a lot of job. It's always have a bunch of creatures on the field, so it works well. Kataki has been amazing against uh, Hammer, against Scales, against Affinity. Really, it was a good sideboard piece. Qatar Commando as like a targeted removal for artifacts, enchantments. Static Prison does similar, and Dranit Magistrate, this card also has been very important. It's a also hate piece for Grinding Breach decks, it's hate piece for Storm decks, it's hate piece for Cascade decks. So it really does a lot, and it's been very relevant. Okay, so that is it. That's main and the sideboard. We can now go check out the gameplay and see how this deck performed. I was really overall impressed with the deck, and it felt really good in today's metagame. Especially it felt good playing against Dimir Frog decks, and deck just felt amazing against them in a lot of situations. They just have a lot of useless cards against this deck, with thanks to the Cavern of Souls, all their counter spells can be pretty dead. Okay, so this hand is amazing. It's all one drops. It's super fast, and if they don't have bunch of removals, this can go out of this can really quickly go out of control. So I could theoretically go Mockingbird, copy God of Souls, and then play Champion of Parish, and copy and have 3 energy and immediately use God of Souls ability here. But that's a riskier play and maybe unnecessary, because if I play Mockingbird and they play removal, then my Mockingbird doesn't copy anything. So yeah, that was bad. So but opponent here amazingly finds Consider, and is able to turn to Unearthed Oculus, which brings them back in game. It's like the best possible start for them. If they didn't do that, this game would already be almost over. But yeah, here it is. I have I can attack here, and I have two Gyro Souls abilities. So I am attacking with a 5-5 and a 6-7. That is 11 damage. That is a lot of damage. Opponent decides not to block this turn, and they are left on 6 life. They go for Thought Scour, and yeah, I guess they are mana screwed. So I go for I had I had options. I had options here. Maybe I think this was wrong. I think this was wrong, and I decided to copy Lieutenant. I think safer and maybe unnecessary play. I think safer play would be just copy the Oculus and attack with only the two big creatures, only creatures that are 5-5 or bigger. And I think I would be in a good position like that. But here I just try to pressure my opponent's life total as much as possible, and opponent ended up having one fatal push, and that was it. They weren't able to stop. My board was too wide, so I got the win here. Okay, so let's check out game 2, and let's also check out the sideboarding plan against DIMIR Frog. But so far, when I was playing first, especially when I was playing first, this matchup against DIMIR Frog felt kind of free. So it was really good. Ethervile, Cavern of Souls, they can counter my spells. A lot of dead cards. They only play like 4 Fatal Push and maybe like a couple of Shot the Sheriffs, maybe one or two mass removals in the sideboard. Okay, let's check out the sideboarding plan. So here we can see that one captain goes out. Okay, so in this version I think I had hopefully initiating the sideboard instead of rest in peace. Yeah, I think at least one rest in peace in the sideboard is good. Hopefully initiate, also sweet option. It can be tutored with Ranger Captain of Eos, but yeah, really, it's a 3 mana ability, so it's only where you have to remove counters from creatures, so it can be sometimes difficult to use it. Okay, I had options here, and I go for Adeline. Unfortunately, I can't attack here. So yeah, I remember that I rather just put Copper Coat Vanguard here in play immediately. Maybe that wasn't good. Maybe I should have waited, but I decided to go for it. And here I trade with Graveyard Trespasser. My plan is here to try to gain some more life, and that way try to make my clock stronger than theirs. So try to raise them by gaining life. Okay, so don't have much here, but I have another Guide of Souls. I can play Witch Enchanter next turn, and I can use the Guide of Souls ability here. So now my Guide of Souls is 4-4. I deal 6 to them. They're on 12, so I have 8 on the field, so it's not that far from lethal. And yeah, my opponent unfortunately finds Shot the Sheriff here. So Shot the Sheriff killed my big Gyro Souls, and I'm on 7, so that means I can probably survive next turn. Okay, so I go for Ranger Captain of Eos. I have Cavern of Souls. My opponent is tapped anyway, so I will be able to gain some life. I play Guide of Souls, gain more, then play Witch Enchanter, gain 2 more, and I attack with Vanguard and put my opponent down on 9 life. So my opponent yeah, unfortunately they had the trespasser ability here to drain me for one. I decided it was definitely risky. I decided to try to go for a kill. And my opponent had Orcish Bowmaster to finish me off, so I had to deal with this in game 2. Probably should have traded with Trespasser. I think I would still die to Murktide. Yeah. Okay, so as I said before, starting with Esper Sentinel against DIMIR Murktide feels so good. My opponent is often forced to kill Sentinel immediately and give me a card, and if they don't kill it immediately, then they are often end up in just serious problem. Okay, so here we go. Opponent doesn't have removal, but they have Stern Scolding to counter my Guide of Souls, so I get the draw. I get the draw from Esper Sentinel and continue attacking. So my opponent, I had plenty of options here. I decided to play my best card in this situation, play a 3-drop here. Opponent has a Fatal Push and plays the Esper Sentinel attacks. So I'm still, I'm hoping to draw a land, so next turn I can try to double spell. Or a Ranger Captain of Eos is also decent. I draw a land, but it was a tap land, so I decide to play my 3-drop here. Opponent again has a Fatal Push, kills my champion, and I find a Mockingbird, continue attacking with Esper Sentinel. Okay, so here it is, opponent goes for Frog. And now I'm finally able to double spell. I decide to go for Talia's Lieutenant. Talia's Lieutenant grow my Sentinel, which make it harder for them to pay tax. Then I play Sanctifier and en-Vec. Sanctifier means I can block Frog whenever I want, except if they except my opponent give it flying. But yeah, they need 3 cards in the yard to do that. Okay, so opponent now has Frog plus Oculus. And yeah, they play Unearth here, so they had to give me a card. And I'm in a much better situation, so I can double spell again next turn. I can even make my own Oculus with Mockingbird. That is amazing. So now I manifested a champion. I can turn champion up for 1 mana, and I can play all my spells here. So I play Static Prison, and I play the Coppercut Vanguard, grow my champion, and the Coppercut Vanguard, it can be countered. I used the Carn of Souls, but opponent tried the Spell Snare, and so that way they just gave me another card in hand, Champion of Parish, so I was able to play Champion of Parish as well, grow my creatures even more, and now just attack with everything. A huge attack here. And that's game for my opponent. They really don't have good blocks here. They need to discard everything on their Frog to kill any of my creature for their Frog to survive, and yeah, then it's just a bad situation, and I think I have lethal as well here immediately. So that is it. That is the game and the match against a Frog, and overall I was just really impressed how well did this deck play against DIMIR Frog, and I was able to win I think a large percentage of that metagame. So far in the 2 leagues I played, faced it I think 3 or 4 times and won all of those games. So here it is, opponent playing Colossus Hammer, and we can see what an amazing hand opponent had there. So they went turn 1 Pure Steel Paladin and had Metalcraft immediately, and they were able to turn 2 kill me with double strike, lifelink, trample, 14/14 guide. That was really strong. And that was unstoppable. I can't do anything about that. So I can board in some artifact and enchantment hate. that is what I can do. Okay, so here let's check the sideboarding plan. The slow cards go out, so almost all 3 mana except for Reflector Mage go out. All 4 Ranger Captains and Adeline all go out. And I also brought in Meddling Mages. Meddling Mages can lock them well in some situations, and I almost was able to do that here. But I was choosing between Stoneforge Mystic and Pure Steel Paladin since my opponent played a tap land on turn 1. I knew they had one of their strong 2-drops, that was either Stoneforge or Paladin, but I couldn't imagine they having a crazy hand like that, where they were able to equip Reality Chip on turn 2. Luckily, the chip didn't go that crazy, and I was able to okay, so I named a Colossus Hammer with second Meddling Mage. So now my opponent was kind of forced to get a hammer here. If they don't get a hammer, they won't be able to play it anymore, except with the Stoneforge ability. And they really wanted to go for the Shadow Spear. So I used that Meddling Mage situation here in a good way. And here we can see this amazing situation where tax collector one off enabled me um, to what is it called, detain a construct token and find exactly lethal. Tax collector was tax collector was amazing in this game, detained a large construct with lifelink and won me this game against won me this game 2 against Hammer after their strong start and win in game 1. This was really important for a comeback in this match. Okay, so let's check out the sideboarding plan again. We can see that I had one hopeful initiate here. I had third static prison. I also brought in the meddling mages, the katakis, of course. And here we can see how good this Kataki was here. My opponent was paying 2 mana, and I also had Esper Sentinel copied, so I paid mana this time as well. Okay, I decided not to play anything, just wait, see if my opponent does the same again. And I really what I wanted to do here is to kill their paladin with Traben Charm. So yeah, that was my game plan here. I waited for opponent to um, try to play like I was hoping them play the Colossus Hammer, then I kill the Traben Charm, and that succeeded. I gave them a card with Esper Sentinel, but I think it's better to give them now than during my turn. And this way they also played Hammer, and now they have to pay mana for it because of the Kataki. So now I was able to start putting creatures in the field with Kataki. They were able to kill at Kataki, so now my champions are becoming big attackers. I go for a third champion, and Static Prison takes their what is it called, the outfitter. Oh yeah, so now they're on 7. I have lethal on board for the next turn, and it's pretty obvious that my opponent is holding March in this situation. So I go for Atalia's Lieutenant, and I'm keeping extra mana for post-combat so I can use the Static Prison again. So I go with everything. I should have went for the Kataki. I didn't count damage, but I think I had lethal if I attacked with Kataki. Yeah, I think I had lethal or not. Yeah, I think I had it. Maybe not. Not exactly sure right now. Didn't count it, but I decided not to attack with Kati just for case. And I had the static prison for post combat anyway, so I wasn't really worried about anything. And yeah, it was just a very easy game after resolving Kataki on turn 2. So yeah, that was it. Opponent wasn't able to come back from that, so that was a win against Hammer Time. And Hammer Time also with the Opal making a small comeback, I would say. And yeah, here in this time I decided to take a small risk and keep a one lander. That can be risky in this deck because this deck only plays 19 lands total. We can see here that I finally find this second land, and Mockingbird just sometimes can be so amazing because um, sometimes it really can be amazing because making a bunch of gyro souls like this can truly be very broken. And here we can see how three gyro souls all with flying, all three with flying, and one vanguard were just too strong for the opponent. Opponent kills vanguard and they try to find more cards to combo off, but yeah, they weren't able to stop my flyers, so I got the win next turn. And yeah, that was a very quick win against Yagmoth with 3 Gyro Souls doing amazing job. Actually Mockingbird and 2 Gyro Souls. So okay, so kind of not ideal hand. Post board, starting off with a champion. A bit risky hand because if they have Bowmaster, they can kill my creatures in this situation. But it's okay. Here I go for a champion, start attacking. My opponent is on 16. Now they go for a grist, make a token, and I ended up not drawing stuff I needed. Here I go. Thales Lieutenant now has flying. That is good. Maybe I will be able to use it to kill the grist. Okay, opponent lets through 3 damage on grist, but now they're holding mana, and it was like super obvious they are holding Chord of Calling, but I tried to pump my Thales Lieutenant here to try to kill Grist, but yeah, I think I did a mistake here. Should have waited, but it wouldn't really matter. It wasn't important. My opponent would be able to kill my Thales Lieutenant anyway, and even killing Grist wouldn't be so big in this situation. It was just overall a bad situation for me. Opponent is high on life. They have Yagmoth on the field, and they find the combo Innkeeper plus Young Wolf, 2 Young Wolves, so they can draw as many cards as they like, and they kill my stuff, and I decide to concede. So that was sorry. Yeah, and now we can check out the game 3. After I got the quick win in game 1, opponent was able to dominate in game 2. So let's now check game 3, and let's also check the sideboarding plan against Yagmoth. Okay, so we can see that meddling mages go in, and meddling mages can lock them out of Yagmoth, but it's not always easy. Post board they have Fatal Push, they have Culling Ritual, they have Grist, and sometimes they also have other removal like Abrupt Decay. So with first meddling mage I decided to name Yagmoth, and with second meddling mage I decided to name Culling Ritual. I had experience with Culling Ritual recently. One Yagmoth deck played it against some a small aggro deck against me. It was really bad, so definitely named Culling Ritual, remembered Culling Ritual because of that. Okay, so we can see here a lot of creatures, and I'm not attacking with the Culling Ritual Meddling Mage just in case they have it. It could be like pretty bad for me. Here opponent kills Lieutenant and chumps one of the bigger creatures. Now they are on 7, and I have I have a lot of creatures on the field doing a lot of strong stuff here. Opponent plays a bunch of their small creatures, and now I go for Adeline. Adeline here can trigger the Guide of Souls, and then when it attacks it creates a token. And the sweet thing is that you can actually stack this in the way that you create a token, get an energy, and then after that, when you have 3 energy, you can actually trigger the Gyro Soul's ability, give flying to one of your creatures and do a win. And but opponent was able to had a removal there for Gyro Souls, so I didn't get the kill immediately, but the win was inevitable here. I had too much damage, too much pressure. My opponent here on 1 life, and it doesn't find a way to get back into the game. So that was a match, quick match against Yagmoth. Okay, so let's check out match number 4. A lot of like really quick matches with humans, that is I would say expected, but I was just overall very impressed with the deck. Deck got a lot of new additions, and all the strength of these 1-drops in this deck is truly amazing. Esper Sentinel is great against DIMIR Frog. Gyro Souls is just what to say, it's just amazing deck. And I was also impressed with deck strength, human strength, when playing against Eldrazi, this regular version. I would say that it is just too fast and goes too wide for Eldrazi. I would say it's even faster than Energy, and going wide can be problem for them. They don't always play like All is Dust or whatever. Here you can see me bouncing their creature to go through with damage. My opponent is now on 10 life. They play Devourer of Destiny. They can exile one of my creatures, but yeah, that's fine. I have Static Prison to clear their blocker. In a lot of situations, you can use a Static Prison to trigger Gyro Souls immediately. I was missing actually 1 mana to do that here, so I didn't do it. But yeah, I attacked my opponent. They're down on 4 life. Opponent digs, uses Rumble, plays the Myco Spawn. They can kill my land and they get another blocker. They are on 4 life, but see, I have a lot in my hand. I can play double creature here to just do the kill. So they only have 1 card left in their hand. If it's the best card they could have, it's like Kozilek's Command. Okay, so I go for Gyro Souls, and then Mockingbird copy Reflector Mage. I have enough energy. I have 2 energy for Gyro Souls, sorry, but I'm attacking here for lethal, and opponent can handle it. So that was the game, and against first game against Eldrazi. So let's check out game 2, and let's also check out the sideboarding plan against Eldrazi. Okay, so this was pretty decent and fast hand. I have champion, a Gyro Souls, always in a bit of dilemma of what to start with. I think in this situation I go for Gyro Souls, but champion of Parish could grow faster, so faster than I'm able to make energy and Gyro Souls abilities here. Okay, so I go Ancient Stirrings. Opponent with 4 mana, they go for Myco Spawn and ramp a bit. I think I did a big mistake here in game 3. You will see it was actually kind of funny as well, and my opponent did use my mistake, but I was able to win a game anyway. The deck was just really solid performance. Okay, so I go for another Vanguard, make my creatures bigger, so they must trade with it. So they trade with one of the Vanguards, and they are now on 5, and my God of Souls survives here, and I'm able to put my opponent down on 1 life with Adeline on the field. With Adeline on the field, opponent plays Null Drifter, exiles Kozilek Return from the yard. So yeah. Okay, here it is, double champion of Parish plus Ether Vial. I was trying to find the best way to surprise them with Reflector Mage next turn and try to do a kill, but my opponent has unfortunately another Kozilek's return. So yeah, that was a major problem for me here. So I did stay in place. So again, I put two creatures on the field with a Reflector Mage in hand to try to use it next turn, to surprise them by bouncing a creature. Okay, so I just play a Mockingbird as a 1/1 flyer, not copying anything. Okay, opponent goes 4 attacks with Null Drifter. They have Kozilek's return in the graveyard, so they can trigger it again if they want. And I'm guessing they don't have, when they attacked with Null Drifter, they don't have other solutions for my Mockingbird attack. So they go for a 7 mana spell, trigger Kozilek's return from the graveyard again. I guess just in case. And yeah, they trigger Kozilek's return, but Kozilek's return also kills their creatures. So I'm fine with that trade. I still have small chance. It's very little. I still have small chance. So I go for Esper Sentinel, and but yeah, my opponent I think has like too much at this point. 4 cards in hand, drawing 1 from turn, and yeah. Now they played a bunch of spells. They started off with Mycospawn, killing my land, making it harder for me to cast stuff. Cast a Reflector Mage from my hand. It's also another cool blocker for them. So at this point I wasn't able to do much anymore. So that was a win for the opponent. So let's check out game 3. Okay, so game 3, amazing hand. I also have Ether Vial to go even faster here. Okay, so my opponent starts with Ancient Stirrings. That's pretty good for me. I don't care about that start. And here it is. I go Ether Vial. I have 3 1-mana creatures here, so I start off with Gyro Souls to do as many Gyro Souls triggers as I can. Make 2 energy, pass the turn. My opponent plays a Malevolent Rumble and gives me 2 cards. Esper Sentinel, amazing in this matchup. They play a bunch of non-creature spells and they really can't avoid playing those cards. Okay, so I go for Ranger, Captain of Eos, and find another Guide of Souls and attack with a lot of creatures. Okay, so opponent doesn't play anything. I know they have Stomping Ground, but they don't play anything just to be able to discard their Kozilek's return. And I did a huge mistake here. So obviously the card they were going for was Null Drifter. That is the only card that saves them, enables them to recast Kozilek's return from the graveyard. It was so super obvious, but I don't know. I didn't play this deck for some time, and I just forgot at this point for that interaction that they play in Null Drifter now. So yeah, it was I did a big problem to myself here. I did big problem, and my opponent now has 6 cards in their hand, yeah, which is definitely problem. I had actually a kill here, so I could go Ranger, Captain of Eos, and Static Prison, find Guide of Souls, and give Witch Enchanter Guide of Souls ability and attack for 4 for lethal, but opponent had Kozilek's return for my Witch Enchanter, and then I make a double Ranger, Captain of Eos, and opponent doesn't have 7 mana to trigger Kozilek's return because of my Static Prison. Static Prison was once again a key card here. So I take their talisman, so they don't have mana to trigger Kozilek's return. They can kill my attackers. I also have another Mockingbird to find a Guide of Souls, and I give them back their talisman. but to not lose energy. But I find Guide of Souls, use Guide of Souls ability, so basically one creature is enough here for me to win, and that was it. Okay, so that was a match against Eldrazi. Played all the difficult matchups. Hammer was also kind of hard for me because I don't have any hate in game one. It's very easy for them to win against me in game one. And here we can see I had to mulligan here and started decently champion of Parish. In game one, mulligan to 6. Okay, so this is actually a decent hand, but I in the trophy match I stumbled into, I would say, maybe one of the worst matchups for me. It's the only deck right now that plays Solitude Ephemerate, and Solitude Ephemerate is just okay. So it is super obvious that my opponent is holding Felia here, but I know they're going for Felia, and I know they're going to play Overlord on their turn and blink them, but I really I kind of want to go as fast as possible here and either go like Ranger Captain of Eos if I draw a land next turn, or Coppercoat Vanguard seems decent as well. But my opponent uses 2 Overlord abilities and they find a Solitude, unfortunately. So they were looking for Solitude and they were digging with Overlord to find it, and unfortunately they found that Solitude, and that meant like game over for me. I still didn't give up, so here I have a champion of the Parish. Parish, it's already a 4-4. I put my Gyro Souls into play so I can attack immediately with the champion. Opponent decides to chump with Solitude, so it's not over still, but it's pretty bad situation because my opponent can use the Overlord ability to bring their Solitude to hand again. So yeah, that's just really bad for me here. Opponent blinks my 5-5 champion, making it a 1-1, and I had to trade with Felia this time. My opponent still has active Overlord in the game, which makes everything just bad situation for me. They even have the Flicker Wisp again. So all in all, pretty bad situation for me, struggling to do something. I have a Coppercoat Vanguard here. I have Static Prison to remove Overlord. I would say like almost a comeback, but not really. I'm missing more cards to do something here, really do a comeback. Opponent still has too many cards. They again go for the Overlord. Again, Pitchcast Solitude, kill my creature. Stay back with Flicker Wisp and pass the turn. Okay, so now I'm in a top deck mode, but I top deck just another land and I decide this is game over. I won't be able to survive this, so I concede. Okay, so let's check out game 2. Sorry, this was game 2 or not? Oh yeah, it was not. Sorry, this was game 1, and game 2 it was even worse for me because I had to mulligan to 5 because I had a 1-lander in the starting hand, and again to mulligan to 6, again a 1-lander, and mulligan to 5 I keep also keep a 1-lander, but this time with Ether Vial, which is a bit more keepable. I should have probably should have kept the starting hand and just risk it because it's a bad matchup and it was a good hand except for having only a single land. Okay, so I go for a land here, put Talia's Lieutenant into play. I have have Tribane Charm to kill their Overlord, and here I attack with champion, but they have a fatal push again here to kill my champion that was bigger, and opponent goes for Orcish Bowmaster, try to kill my Talia's Lieutenant, so I use my Traben Charm here to save it. But yeah, I don't have any cards in hand. Mulligan to 5. Opponent had a lot of good stuff going on, so it was too much for my deck in this situation. This deck is just... And they also play Wrath of the Skies, so just complete destruction. This deck is just a too bad matchup for me to mulligan to 5 and try to do something. So that was it. Was not able to get back from there, and that was the entire league. So I hope you like the gameplay, hope you like the league. For end, a quick reminder to click like, click subscribe, comment down in the video, tell me how do you feel about humans right now in modern. I think this build looks pretty solid. I was impressed how well this deck performed against Oculus. I played I think 2 times in the first league and 1 time in this league. Won all 3 games against Oculus, all 3 matches, and also it looked very good against Eldrazi's. And no, I played 1 match against Energy. I was able to win. But it was really intense and long match with a bunch of weird situations, so I'm not sure how this I'm not yet sure how this deck plays against Energy. I will have to play more, but so far I really like it against DIMIR a lot, really like it. It seems very strong against DIMIR, and it's great against Eldrazi. I think it's also good against combo. We have a Lavinia, we have Meddling Mage. We have Esper Sentinels, and Rager Captain of Eos also can do a lot against Breach or against Cascade. Very useful. Mockingbird with Ranger Captain of Eos also brings in some amount of grind to the deck. And the Mockingbird also grinds well and uses other cards in a deck well. Going triple Guide of Souls can be pretty crazy, or Champion and Esper Sentinels, all good early targets for the Mockingbird ability. So all in all, overall, I really like the deck. I feel that I really like how this brew, the Azorious version I made. And after first league I did some tweaks, and I really like how it performed in the second league, and all the sideboard options I had. I really liked that as well. So I feel I'm done tweaking for now. I would like to play more in this exact version of a deck to test other matchups, to test how it plays in against other strong decks in the format. But so far I really have to say I'm really impressed by the performance against Dimir Frog, against Eldrazi's, and against combo decks. That is what I mostly played so far. So really impressed there. And also I played Affinity, I played Hammer. Katakis were really strong from the sideboard. Amazing card. Missed playing that one. Okay, so that is it. Again, thank you for watching. That's all for today, and goodbye.